Jim Cramer joins me on the floor of the NYSE. I'm Catherine Ross of TheStreet. Jim, I want to say congrats because we have our Action Alerts Plus conference call and the market's up.
I know, first time. Okay, so I go to, I'm working on it when in bed. I'm working on it last night. My wife says, go to sleep. I said, no, it's the call. I wake up about, I went to bed around 1. I wake up at 4 and I look at it, I said, oh my God, the futures are up. I may have to adjust and be a little bit more sanguine because it is absolutely true that I cannot recall a club call where the market was not falling precipitously as I was recommending certain stocks. At least it got good prices.
There we go. And for anyone who doesn't know, you can catch the call live on actionalertsplus.com at 11:30.
And I'm genuinely excited about it. We get the team together. We go over and over. We're going to pick, I've got 5 themes that I think are, that I'm going from back of mind to front of mind. I've got a representation about how to use the 10 of the most important rules for the upcoming volatility, because we're not going to go up every day, Catherine. And then we're going to discuss 2 stocks in particular that people have asked a great number of questions about, including one new name, all right? That's a little surprise factor. And then we're going to go over the reader questions. And we'll also have a little feedback on a couple of stocks that have bedeviled us, and then some news in a particular stock, J&J, where they did something with a digital surgery, which is something that Medtronic has done when they bought Mazor. That was an Israeli company. And of course, Intuitive Surgical. So it is going to be an electric conference call, but I have to tell you, these calls, I've got to figure out a way to make it so that my wife isn't angry at me, and also Xilinx and Everest aren't mad at me. Xilinx formerly being Marley, Xilinx breaking out here, because every time I turn on the PC in bed, Marley goes nuts. Now Xilinx. Nuts.
Well, we're also going to be talking.
He's trying to grab the screen. I mean, I don't know if he's an idiot or not, because yesterday I was throwing biscuits at him, and they were just dunk, dunk. You got to open your mouth, man. Dunk.
Well, we're also going to be talking about J&J over on Action Alerts Plus on our video.
Yes, and I think that J&J yesterday, really, there was a panel, FDA advisory panel for esketamine.
You can't tell too much. We got to wait.
Oh.
We got to talk about it on our Action Alerts Plus video. I know you're excited.
We'll revert to Activision Blizzard then.
Well, we talked about that yesterday. Let's switch over. Let's talk about Cisco, which is our real money stock of the day.
Look, Cisco, sometimes you really want what happened here. There was a downgrade just the other day, yesterday, saying that it had reached full price and worried about the forecast.
And you like the downgrade.
I can't stress how, I like that one today too. I can't express how important it is to have a potential short base on any stock, whether the short base be on Shopify, where the Stips, what a great story that is. Or we need people to sell the Cisco. Now, Chuck Robbins is a different sort of CEO. Chuck Robbins, it's a quiet move up. And I think that if it goes down, it would be such a gift. Because Chuck is not an over-promiser, under-deliverer. He's the opposite. By the way, UNC guy, all right, Atlanta guy, Falcon guy. And I have never held that against him on any venue.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, I show restraint periodically.
Periodically. Let's also talk about, sorry, I had a mind.
It's all right. Well, sometimes I am that just captivating.
Yeah, you truly
and
are.
That's what my wife said the other day. You can be captivating, but completely
when
wrong.
She wasn't. Oh,
captivating. Well, I was trying to explain that I wanted to push on. I wanted to use Twilio to push our pizza specials at the Longshoreman, and I went on and on about Twilio, and she says that was quite captivating and it means nothing. It's full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Not unlike the Bard.
Did you hear about this GM and Amazon deal that they're going to invest in?
What the heck is that?
Okay, so I have to say, I talked to Workhorse's CEO, and many people may not know what Workhorse is.
I'm a workhorse.
No, this is the company.
You're a show horse. I'm a workhorse.
So this is the company. Workhorse does electric vehicles. Now, they have also developed an electric pickup truck. So I'm kind of interested because GM and Amazon are putting their money into Rivian. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I'm hoping that I am. To kind of beat Tesla to market with an electronic.
Tesla just shipped. There's a bunch of large container ships going to China to try to beat
but
the
they
tariff.
Don't have.
But the Chinese have their own versions. Remember, of electronic. Of course, we fund that with our trade deficit.
But Tesla still doesn't have that electric pickup truck, which is
No,
what
they
everyone
don't.
wants.
And remember, they were going to do it. I know that when you look at, I'm more interested in autonomous drive than I am in electric at this point. And autonomous drive, a lot of people are looking at Volvo, and that's, by the way, Volvo is being used by a major company that's coming public, and they're made in China. And remember, well, there are Chinese. I shouldn't say made in China. People forget that Volvo is a Chinese company.
So why do you think now that everyone is so interested in electric pickup trucks?
Well, I think that pickup trucks are the hottest selling thing. I mean, it's where all the profit margin is. Did you ever buy one? I bought one. I bought a Super Duty 350.
I wasn't allowed to.
I mistakenly bought it with gasoline. You should have bought it with diesel. It's more power. But I tell you, we were in a joint venture in a business where I bought it for the business, and I've got to tell you, you are king. When you're on top of the 350 Super Duty, you're king.
I've driven them because horseback riding. I had to drive them to.
I didn't know you were a horseback rider.
I am.
You are a show horse after all.
Let's also talk about this T-Mobile Sprint thing where they have to go and talk to him.
The testimony is very compelling. Okay,
yeah.
John Lesureur's testimony is on two things. One is that we don't want the Chinese to get ahead of us in 5G. And they need the critical mass to do it. And second, there is a undercurrent that you got to have these two to get together because the balance sheets aren't that strong for Sprint. Now that's not, he doesn't come out and say that because he's not. But I'm just a sotto voce aspect of that is that don't you want three well-financed players rather than 4 with one not financed well at all. So in other words, let's say Sprint were to get in trouble. Well, that's not the way you want to get 3 players, right? You want Sprint and T-Mobile to get together to be competitive with the giants of Verizon and AT&T. So it's very split for me. I keep waffling between the two because I certainly want the price competition to continue. But boy, who wants the Chinese to get ahead of us in 5G? I don't. I sure don't.
And that testimony is actually happening right now, so I'll be interested to see if that has any market impacts later on in the day.
Well, John Lesureur's fiery. You should read. Everyone should read his brief, and you'll understand why you kind of are rooting for him.
His tweets always pop up on my Twitter as like the promoted tweets.
Yes.
I also want to talk.
I get him too. Now a lot of times, I will tweet him to say, "Please come on the show." He's had to be silent because of this transaction. But the stock,
understand that.
I have to tell you, the quarter was fabulous. Now, typically, I've interviewed him for almost every single quarter. He wasn't allowed to come on, but one of the reasons why the stock has run to 69 is that the quarter was superb. So the company would do well with or without Sprint. So you got to hand it to this man. And his team is very energized. Really delightful group.
We're seeing the markets up because of U.S. trade optimism. Are you optimistic?
I think that it's going to be longer. And I think that one of the things that people have to start understanding is it's not just about the difference between the Mnuchin Kudlow team and the Lighthizer Navarro team. The Navarro team very much says, listen, we're not close. It's going to take a long time. The Mnuchin Kudlow team continually makes it sound like that it's going to be imminent. And I think the former is more compelling, is more, let's just say, likely than the latter. It's important. Don't jump the gun, is what I'm saying. Right now, the president's uniquely focused on the wall. And don't underestimate his power of concentration on one issue at a time.
I'm glad that you brought up the wall, because my final question for you
Well, you're from Texas.
today.
I don't know.
Well, I want to talk to you about the possibility of a government shutdown. I mean, we're seeing reports that he's going to sign it.
Yeah, to me, it seems like that it's going to be averted. I want to make a point here that I think people do not understand. One of the great books, Chris Matthews wrote a book. He worked for Tip O'Neill. I know it's dated now. You're talking about almost 40 years. But Tip O'Neill was a very left-wing congressman, and President Reagan was right-wing at the time. Now, if you look at his statements in the light of today, you'd think he's middle of the road to left. But they were horse traders. We got show horse, workhorse, now we had horse traders. And so they got things done. And even though they were completely from the other side of the issues, Nancy Pelosi is a person that wants to get things done. And people misinterpret this fantastic individual. You may disagree with her as her politics, but a fantastic individual that, like Tip O'Neill, might disagree with. I was more pro-Reagan, voted for Reagan. But I think that when you look at what, since Pelosi became Speaker, there's a more muted tone. You never see the president, you remember crying Chuck, all this. You never see the president belittle Nancy Pelosi, and that's important. she and Paul, her husband, are very practical people. So I think that because of her, I think we'll get a deal. She is obviously a vociferous spokesperson for her view, as was Tip O'Neill. But she wants to get things done. And it's a rather, I think she's chronically underestimated. And I will go one step further. If she were a man, you wouldn't feel it. A lot of people wouldn't feel this way. And I went to the Goodbye Party last night for ingenuity. And as a father of two women, I just continually see this as a gulf in our country, that women are just not treated, whether it be pay or whether it be at a corporate level, with the respect, and now also politics, with the respect they deserve. I'm out there. You know, I grew up in a household where my grandmother ran a business, and her three brothers didn't, but they got the business upon the passing of my great-grandfather, and it instilled in my house forever that women are not treated well, and it's just nothing's really changed. Nancy Pelosi's the deal maker; she'll get it done.
I think that's a very excellent point to make.
I want to emphasize. Take a look at the tweets. Do you ever see a bad word about Nancy Pelosi? There is none.
I think that's an excellent point. Now, before we go, I just want to remind viewers that you have a pre-Valentine's gift for everyone with your Action Alerts Plus video.
Right. I mean, boy, the flowers came yesterday from my wife, thank heavens. You know, I would like them to actually the day of Valentine's, but please remember, I always send my kids Valentine cards. You know, my mom used to send me Valentine card with $5 in it. I miss those. The $5 I would go buy she would always say, go buy an album.
Oh, yeah. That's so sweet.
Always remember it. Sometimes she would put message hearts in it, but there are no Necco message hearts this year. I don't know. I heard that Neckos might go out of business, and I told my wife, and she bought some Neckos. She didn't realize that she was actually buying the boxes that they sell at the supermarket, not like individual. We have chocolate Neckos that are stacked to here. We have other whole thing Neckos. We have little Neckos. We are the national repository of Neckos.
They're not going to go out of business thanks to you guys.
No, we put them on Amazon.
All right, Jim, we're going to go over to our Action Alerts Plus video because you want to talk about J&J.
Yes.
All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.